Yeah, right.
Okay, so we're going to go through, basically I'm going to show you what the parents see when they log into Parent Connect, and we'll go through each of the steps, just in case you get a help request from a parent who's having trouble with one of the steps. So far we have not seen that. All of the requests that have come in have basically been, I don't have my PIN, or I don't know my password. And I think that's probably going to be the request that you're going to get, is people just needing to get in. But we want people to be familiar with what the parents are seeing in case you get a question on that. So we're going to start there, and then I will show you how you'll help parents with the password and the PIN, where you'll find those, and then also what the email will look like that you'll get when the help request does come in. Okay, so let me share my screen. So should see. So has everybody seen the Parent Connect screen now? Okay, so when they first go to Parent Connect, this is like their home page. I don't know, Lucy, if you've ever seen Parent Connection, but no. This is the home screen that they see. It does have the what am I trying to say? The link here. So, you know, if they don't know the Parent Connect PIN, they can actually click on right here, English or Spanish, and it will take them to the help request form. And they can fill out the form right here by picking their school right here. Then it routes it to the appropriate person at each school site, okay? They also have down the left-hand side here, again, a link to that help request form, as well as a video tutorial and a parent guide on the annual information update. So all of that stuff is right here on the left-hand side. But when they log in, this is what they see. If they're Spanish speakers, they can click on View in Spanish, and then this annual information update, you know, would read in Spanish, and all of the information would be in Spanish. But where they're going to start is right here on annual information update. And then they're going to see each of the contacts, the primary parent guardians that live in the same household. Okay, so if the parents are separated, they cannot update each other if they don't live in the same household. Okay, so if mom and dad are divorced, they live in different households, and mom is logging in, then mom is only going to see herself here. She can update her information. Dad would have to log in separately and update his own information. Okay. Okay. But if they are living in the same household, then, you know, mom can log in and update everything. So the first step would be that whichever parent is logging in, they would come here and click edit. The only things that they can edit, they can add or edit their email address. They can add an employer and their occupation. They can update their education level and their preferred communication language, which is the contact in queue. It says home language. We're updating it to preferred communication language just to make it more user-friendly, so they kind of understand what it is that they're updating there. And then they can edit an existing phone number and add additional phone numbers. Okay. They can also, if they need help, they can click on this link. It will take them to that help request form if they need assistance with this step, or they can click here and it will take them to a video tutorial for that specific step. So we have a tutorial for each step in YouTube, and there is a link to it in each step. Okay, it will take them to the specific steps tutorial. Okay, and it will come up eventually. But anyway, so this sentence here is at the top of each step. and it will take them to the specific tutorial or the request for help. Once they've updated their information, they click on this link here, confirming that the information that they've entered is, they've reviewed it and made the changes where appropriate. And then once they do that, they click submit, and they're done with their information.
Oh, wow.
If there's another contact, they would do the exact same thing for that contact. So then they have to do the same type of thing for each of their students. So if they have multiple students, they're going to see each student and the 11 steps for each student. So let's go ahead. I'm going to come down here to the one that doesn't have all of them confirmed. And confirmed is what they see once they have completed the step and checked that confirmed box. Then when they come out, it will say confirmed. And the date and time that it's confirmed and who did it. Okay. So we're going to come down here to this last student. They'll click on edit. They start with student demographics. And again, you can see here, they've got this sentence that says, you know, for assistance, you can watch the tutorial or submit a request for help. The only thing on the student demographics that they can change or update is they can add a nickname. They can change the preferred communication language, which again in Q is, it says home language. They can update the primary phone number. They can add an additional phone number. If they want to make any changes on the birthplace or the race and ethnicity, or if the birth date is wrong, it lets them know up here that they would have to contact the school to make those changes. Okay. Then they confirm step 1 is complete and they hit submit. The next step is emergency contacts. Here they see the existing emergency contacts that are in queue already. They can update these. They can delete one if they want to remove one, simply by clicking the X to remove that contact. They can add an additional emergency contact. And if they have multiple children and they want to use the same emergency contacts for all of their kids, they can click on copy and replace, and it will copy the contacts that are right here on their other students. That way they don't have to go through and remember what they put on one for all of the rest. I'm just going to reset this. Once they're done making changes, again, they would hit confirm step 2 complete and hit submit. For step 3, they're going to confirm that the address that we have in queue is their current address. So we present the current address that they have in queue. If it's correct, they simply check the box that says the student's address is correct. If that is not the address that they are currently living at, they would click on student's address is different and type in the address that they are currently living at. When all of this stuff is processed, it's not going to automatically change the address in queue. Okay, we're not going to do that because the site needs to confirm that, yes, they really do live there. One nice thing that we now have is the parents will have the ability to upload documents through this re-enrollment process. And so they can literally take whatever documentation that they would bring into the site, whether it's a utility bill, we give them a list of things that are approved documentation. And when we get to step 10, I can show you that they will be able to upload that documentation showing their current address right here. So that in July, when we start training you guys on how to process all of this information, you'll get a list of students who have a new address. You'll be able to look at the documentation and confirm that, okay, yes, they do live in our area, they've given us the proper documentation, and you can simply just update the address without further communicating with the parent if you choose not to communicate with them further on it. So that's a really nice feature. Rather than having to wait and try to communicate with the parent and there being a delay, the update on the address can happen more quickly. So we're just going to say the student does still live there. They confirm step 3 complete and hit submit. Here is where we just ask for any court orders or guardianship papers, anything that is new or recently updated that the site's not aware of. Because sometimes there are students who have court orders and things like that, but there's been updated ones that the parents haven't provided. And so we just simply ask them, are there any new or recently updated legal bindings the school site's not aware of? They pick yes or no. The sites will be able to run a list once this is all done of any that say yes, and they can follow up with the parent and say, hey, you indicated yes, there's something new, you know, we need to get that from you. They'll confirm step 4 complete and hit submit. Here's the McKinneyVento paper that has to be handed out to all of the students at the beginning of every year and then gotten back. So you won't have to do that paper form anymore. You can simply, they'll just simply do it in here. So they pick what their current residence, the student's current residence situation is. You know, if they pick permanent housing, then there's nothing further for them to do. If they do foster family home, it asks for what type of foster family home placement type it is. And so they would choose that here. If they choose temporary shared housing or doubled up, there are the qualifying questions here, and they would fill these out. They would also indicate whether the student is a runaway youth or an unaccompanied youth, and confirm and submit. Now, one thing about that is that it will automatically create, if the student, based on the answers to those questions, if it's determined that the student qualifies for McKinneyVento, then it will automatically create the McKinneyVento program. So I'm not going to have to collect any more paper forms. There's not going to be any more going through them, separating them, and having to manually create programs. It's all an automatic process now. Step 6 is the Armed Forces family information. So again, it's another one of those paper forms that you'll no longer have to collect. It's all done here. The parent simply answers if the parent or legal guardian is in the military. If they answer yes, then it asks what is their military status. Depending how they answer here, it will again automatically create the Armed Forces family program. So again, no more paper forms to collect, no more programs for you guys to manually create. It's all done automatically. Again, they select confirm step 6 complete and hit submit. Here they are indicating that they have read and understand the parent guide. They click here and they can read the entire 55 pages of the parent guide. Right now it's still showing the 1920 parent guide. I need to follow up with Monty just to make sure that we get the 2021 parent guide in there. But for right now, this will suffice. So they can read all 55 pages, and then they're just going to confirm that they've read it, they've gone over it with their students, they understand the rules, they'll type in their name. We are still required to provide a paper copy to parents if they request it. So we let them know here, if they want a paper copy, they can contact the school, and the schools will have a small supply of paper copies. They confirm the step complete. And
Pam, quick question.
Yes.
If they open that up, the parent guide, can they save that digitally to their computers?
They should be able to, yes.
Okay.
So if they open it up, yeah, they can download it.
Okay.
So they would just click download. Okay, step 8 is health information. So here is where they can indicate if their child has no updated health information since the previous school year. If they do have new health conditions, they would click on add. There's a whole drop down of health conditions here for them to choose from, and then they can just put any notes here regarding them. This will not automatically update into Q Health. It's simply going to populate a report that you guys will be able to run to give to your health clerks, and they can follow up with the parents. Okay. The other thing that we've added here, now that we will be able to have parents upload documentation, is, and this really doesn't apply to you guys, but for children that are entering 7th grade, they have to have that 2 doses of varicella and the Tdap booster. And so they'll be able to upload that information right into the re-enrollment process, so that the school sites will be able to retrieve that and the kids will be able to start school on time. So once they filled this out, they confirm step 8 complete and hit submit. Step 9 is simply kind of informational for the parents on the Chromebook device care coverage. They can go, if they choose to purchase it, they can click right here. It takes them directly to My Payments Plus, and they can purchase it right then and there. There's instructions on My Payment Plus. If they click here, there's information on the digital gateway and Chromebook FAQs here. And then all we ask is just, are they going to purchase it? Or if, they can say no, not at this time. They're not beholden to anything by clicking on this. It's just for us to kind of get an idea on the ones that did versus the ones that chose not to. They click confirm step 9 and submit. And then step 10 is the new ability for them to upload the documents. And here is where they would upload their proof of residence or their immunization information. And I didn't add any document types. Oh, shoot. Okay, hold on. I looked at that. Okay, so this is where they would add their documents. And it's pretty simple. And Nancy will be working on a video tutorial for this so that they will be able to see real easily how to do it. Once they've uploaded any documents, they would confirm this step complete and hit submit. And then the final step is just their signature saying that, they're 18 years or older, they've completed all the steps, they're done with this student. They type in their name, check the box, and hit submit. And now this student is done. And so it says confirmed. You can see it says confirmed all the way down and re-enrollment complete. And that's how they know that they're done with this student. And so once they see re-enrollment complete on each one of these students and the parents, they're all done. So the parents are done with their part. Okay, so that's just so you're kind of familiar. Don't anticipate that you guys are going to need, that you're going to get any help requests on the steps. They're pretty easy because we've got the tutorial or the video for each step. But at least you know what it looks like. So that's the parent side. The PIN that you, or the email that you'll get when they fill out the screen. Let's see. Let me share a different screen. Okay, hold on. Let me share a different screen. Okay, so this is what the email looks like that you'll receive, and it just has the school name. It'll have the parent's name, the phone number, their email address. It should have the student's name and their ID number, and then basically what the problem is. They choose that from a list, a drop-down list, and then an explanation of the problem and if there's any additional comments or questions. And so then you can just either connect with the parent via phone or email and help them with whatever their problem is. Okay. So let me go back to this screen. So let's go into Q, and I can show you. Type my password, right? So to assist parents with their PIN, there's a couple of places that you can go. You can, easiest way, I guess, would be Student Editor. So, for instance, the email that I showed you, let's use that one. So the student is, well, it's Briseda Cordero, but that name's going to be a little different because I'm in demo. So this is the student. You would come down to Student Contacts, and the parent is Alicia Garcia, who in demo is Fernando, even though it's a mom. And so right here, you can see the PIN. Okay, it's right there under relationship. So if they need the PIN, that's their PIN number. Okay. Now you can see that this parent does not have an email address in Q. Okay. So unfortunately what happens with that is that if they don't have an email address in Q, they can't use the self-service password reset function. So on the login page where they click on forget your password, they have to have an email address in Q in order to use that. All right. So when you get a help request for a parent who doesn't have the email address in Q, there's two ways that you can approach this. You can email them their PIN and let them know that since they don't have an email address in Q, you're going to send them a separate email with a temporary password. Okay, you don't ever want to send the PIN and the password in the same email. Okay, and how you would give them a temporary password is you would click on Edit, and right here under Occupation is the Change Password. See it right here?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay, so you would click on that, and you would just give them a temporary password. It has to just at least be 5 characters. So it can be anything. I mean, you can make it RHS 2020 or you know, whatever, Apple One or just whatever. You would just type it in twice and then hit submit. So we're just gonna make it, I'll just make it Apple. And hit submit. And then you would hit submit again on the contact.
For, is that the contact information?
Okay, so do you see change password?
Yeah, I see it on there, but I don't have access to it here on my end.
Okay.
Lucy, do you, okay, you have access to editor?
I have access to editor, but all it's showing me is personal information of the student and then address, phone, residence of the student, and there's no contact information.
So you can't see student contacts? So see
Yeah,
it on the left. Click on this. So it's a banner.
Oh, there we are. Okay. Okay, I found it.
Did you find it? Okay, so then you click on edit. Okay,
Yeah.
and then you see the change password.
Yeah.
Okay. So then you would just change the password.
And then what would the new password be? Just
It can be anything that, because it's just going to be temporary. They're going to have to change it when they get in. So don't ask them what they want their password to be, because as soon as they log in, they're going to be required to change it.
okay.
So you just want to make it something very simple.
Mhm.
So you can, like I said, you can make it RHS 2020 or, you know, whatever.
Okay.
Sorry, Pam, but usually we tell the secretaries, and this is just a suggestion, but when we've trained before, it's the parents' initials and the last 4 of the PIN.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Okay.
That's just what we always tell them.
Okay, no, that's perfect.
And the last one, okay.
Okay, so then you would hit submit, and then you have to hit submit again. And that changes the password. So then you would, in a separate email, send them the password. Okay. Now the other thing you can do is you can go in and add their email address right here. Okay. And once you add the email address, hit submit, and then all you have to do is let the parent know what the PIN is and tell them that once they go to the parent portal, they would simply click on forget your password. They would put in the email address that's on file in queue and hit submit. And then they will be emailed with their password.
Okay.
Okay. So either way, you know, however you want to do it. It would be nice to have all of the email addresses in queue. But what we're hoping is as they go through and do the information update, that they're going to add their email address.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the 2 ways that you can provide them with their PIN and a password. Okay. So I am going to stop. Okay, I think that is all I have.